What's up, gamers? It's your boy, JKon. Welcome to another episode of Rostermania. With more confirmed news coming out, especially players that I'm a big fan of, I thought it'd be fun to talk about the moves and what the future holds for their teams. Let's get into it. Let's start out with the elephant in the room and what this video will primarily be about: Monyet to PRX. Holy shit, man. I am so excited for this pickup for PRX. When I heard that Jing was going to retire at the end of Champions, I was really sad because I truly believe that there isn't another player like him. Not only is he a master of Raze and truly embodies her with his W playstyle, he always puts on a show whenever he is on screen that is just electrifying to watch. Honestly, I became a really big fan of this team because of Jing. As much as I love Benkai and his personality that he brought to the world, Jing was just a spectacle that you have to watch. He really reminds me of Kyrie Irving or Allen Iverson from the NBA. No matter what you think of these players, watching them handle the ball is just art. And the same can be said for Jing on his Raze. But what made this team great wasn't the fact that they had an insane Raze player, it was the fact that they set each other up extremely well and made order of the chaos. Benkai was their noble leader for many years, but he was benched in favor of something this year. We'll get into Benkai in a little bit. Devi and Mindfreak being the backbone of this squad remains true going into 2024, and Forsaken is still one of the best flex players in the world. Jing was a crowd pleaser and a fan favorite whose shoes are going to be near impossible to fill. But if I were to pick one player from the APAC region that I think would be a worthy replacement, it would be Monyet. Monyet was actually one of the first people that I thought of as a Jing replacement, but I didn't think that GE would have let him go. But of course, I was severely wrong in this department because the rumors were true and it is now confirmed. PRX Monyet. If you don't know who Monyet is and wonder why myself and so many others in the community are so high on him, here's a little history on the Indonesian player. Monyet began his valiant career playing duelist for RRQ Esports, an Indonesian org, in 2021. He showed incredible mechanics and firepower playing primarily Jet and Raze, but he did have pocket picks of Phoenix, Neon, and Astra, showing his early flexibility into the controller role. He put up insane numbers, carrying his team with his ex-teammate, now franchise player, Elmimore, Sheriff God of RRQ. In 2022, Onyx placed top 4 in the qualifiers for Master Copenhagen, falling to Xerxia in the lower bracket, and fell in the grand finals of LCQ to Boom Esports, who were able to take the win and a spot at Champions. Monyet performed quite well at these events and was able to build up his name enough to be selected to join GE's Blue Lock experiment for 2023 franchising. After GE was cooking with their project for 4 months, we would see them debut on the international stage with Monyet rocking a new main role: controller. Although GE went out in their opening match against Vitality 1-2, Monyet was still their highest rated player, going on an absolute heater on their map win of Pearl, putting up 24, 14, and 4 with 286 ACS. As I alluded to earlier, he did show capabilities to flex the controller role and he looked pretty good so far. As I said in my every VCT team season in 3 words or less video, go check it out if you haven't seen it already, I said that GE started out the year a little slow, but by the time the season was nearing the end, they started to gel together better and looked more competitive, but unfortunately they were not able to close out their maps. Monyet was his team's highest rated player throughout the regular season, placing him top 3 in the region with something in Devi, and repeated that feat for LCQ, although his team went out 0-2 to RRQ. Despite the loss to RRQ, Monyet still placed top 2 in rating, only second to Envy, who did play 10 more maps than him, but that kid was on an absolute heater and I'm very excited for his future. Anywho, going back to Monyet, we can clearly see that he is extremely talented as a player, and I think his time on GE has only helped him grow and develop. Adding him to the PRX mix just gives this team even more flexibility and options. He can definitely fit the Raze hole that's been left by Jing, as he was able to return to the agent on Fracture against RRQ late in the VCT season, and although his team did lose, he put up 25, 20, and 2 with 302 ACS, being the only one fragging for his team. Something was originally brought into PRX to be the Jing replacement, so he is more than capable of playing Raze and being the primary duelist for the squad, but with Monyet in the mix, they can easily still run double duelist. And since Monyet has controller experience, running double controllers such as Viper Harbor is more than possible, especially as it can free up Devi to continue to be the primary initiator for the team. The squad has so much flexibility in roles, with something having his pocket breach, Devi flexing a Viper, Forsaken being a flex god and being able to play every agent in the game, that I think adding a Jogamo-esque player to the squad can only give Alex more ingredients to cook with. There definitely needs to be a conversation about the cracked duelist player to controller pipeline, because there are so many good examples of it happening in Valorant. I'm definitely a big fan of flexibility and this idea, so if you want me to make a video on that, let me know down below in the comments. I really hope that PRX keep forsaking on his flex role and not switching back to duelist, because I think he's just such a creative and unique player on other agents that I think putting him on a duelist role really hinders his ability to be himself. This team has a ton of potential and I'm really excited for their future, and I have been and will continue to be a paperboy. Now let's get to the other half of this signing and talk about global esports, as they have brought in PRX's ex-IGL, Benkai, and have promoted Lightningfast to the starting roster. We'll start with Benkai, probably one of the most beloved players in the scene and someone who always stole the show. I ain't gonna lie, I'm a huge fan of Benkai, as he's someone that inspires me to be more me and to not take myself so seriously every day. Benkai has been very open about his drive to make people laugh and be a meme, as his walkouts on stage are those of legend. And as someone who genuinely shows his personality, he is very easy to connect to, and I think everyone can take a lesson from him. If you can't be remembered as the best team, you might as well be remembered as the funniest. I strive to be a better person every day, and I'm not afraid to show my personality or interest to others, and I think people like Benkai are a great reminder for those lessons. Anywho, getting back to the Valorant side of things, Benkai was benched after week 4 of the regular season in favor of something. He has been riding the bench since, but he is joining the rebuilding global esports, but has stated that he will not be the main IGL of the team. Benkai primarily played Sentinels, but has flexed to Initiator in the past, so I definitely think that they will probably have him be their Sentinel player. I think adding Benkai is great because not only is he a PR boost, as like I said, many people are fans of him and will follow him to support, myself included, but he also is a great vibes guy. Now you may ask, JKon, what's a vibes guy? And I'll tell you that the vibes guy is usually the emotional leader of the team, being the backbone and support and encouraging their teammates to help stabilize nerves and prevent tilt. They bring the energy to their squad and are their team's hype man. Think of Zellsis, for example. My favorite example of this is Stewie2K. Now I know Stewie has a lot of conflicting feelings towards him in the Counter-Strike scene, but there is a reason why he is the most important player to North American success in Counter-Strike, in my opinion. He was on Cloud9 during their Cinderella run to win the Boston Major and bring North America their first and only major in CSGO history. He then went on to join the Liquid roster that went to see the highest peaks outside of a major win for a North American roster, winning the Intel Grand Slam and 5 S-tier tournaments and 1 A-tier tournament along the way, being the only roster to challenge the GOATs of Astralis in 2019. Although he didn't have the best end to his career in CS, you cannot tell me that Stewie wasn't an important part in all of those victories, and you can see the effect that he had on a roster, because after he joined Team Liquid, they cemented themselves as title contenders after struggling for years with Taco and Steel. Anyways, back to the vibes guy. Every team needs one. Yes, even your ranked games need one. And I think Benkai fits that to a T. And with a new roster coming together, most likely from multiple nationalities, an experienced veteran that can help the roster and be their emotional leader is extremely important. And I am excited to see his future with this team. Going to the other GE signing, Lightningfast has been promoted to the starting roster. I'm actually a really big fan of this, despite the hype that GE did to announce this. Announcement. You didn't know they asked for 5,000 retweets in order for them to announce their next player, and it ended up being Lightningfast, who is still contracted till 2024. Anywho, going back to Lightningfast, he was primarily a race player, but has experience playing a wide variety of agents. I personally thought that Lightningfast was the better player between him and SK Rossi, but they ended up keeping the latter in the starting roster despite many maps running Raze. I think Lightningfast can be a pretty solid duelist in the Pacific region, but honestly, it really depends on how the meta will shake out and who his supporting cast will be. If you're a team that plays more traditional / meta, the supporting cast is more important than the duelist fragging ability, in my opinion. Just look at Ye during his time in DSG versus time on Optic. Or even look at the current world champs EG, as Jogmo and Demon 1 had Ethan and Calm backing them up, a world-class duo in their own right. I think GE are off to a decent start, so we'll have to see how the rest of the roster shakes out to be. A few other moves that happened so far is Zellsis rejoined Sentinels as their 6th man, Team Vitality has signed Runner, and RRQ has signed Estrella. Talking about Zellsis really quickly, I think this is a great idea for him. In terms of marketability and branding, Zellsis really blew up when he first joined Sentinels. He was put in a lot of their content pieces and his stream and Twitter exploded. I think realigning yourself with one of the strongest brands, if not the strongest brand in Valorant, is a great idea. He stated that he is looking to grow more as a player and develop his agent pool, as well as grow into being an IGL. I think him being on Sentinel's bench is great in the sense that he can continue to be an emotional leader for their team and be their vibes guy, even if he's not in-game and providing insight. He took on a big brother role in C9 for the rookies, especially for Jake, and I think every team needs a veteran that can be that figure for them. I know a lot of people memed
oh, he'll just go in for 10s after week 3.
But I think this is bullshit. Like I said in my TENS resigning video, go check it out after this video if you haven't seen it, I said that TENS is extremely talented and I still believe in his ability, especially if he continues to play more supportive agents. So no, I don't think that they'll bench him for Zellsis. Zellsis touches on a really interesting point on development that I don't think a lot of veterans are necessarily willing to do. Safe actually touched on this in his interview with Sean Garris, that he wanted to be able to teach the next generation and then support them to see them succeed. Many people have egos that they are unwilling to let go of, but those who do are the ones that make up the backbone of player development. Look at all these amazing coaches. For example, Benkai. He is now the coach of Oxygen Esports, and he has this team of 15, 16-year-olds that are cracked out of their minds playing extremely disciplined. How many people do you know that are 15 that can be disciplined in game? Because that is insane. Anywho, I'm very excited for Zellsis, and I hope that he will get to grow and develop in the way that he is hoping, because I think he's a great player that can provide a lot of intangibles to the roster that he's on. Team Vitality are looking to rebuild around their Lithuanian duo of Destrine and Sender. They've added the young Macedonian duelist Runner, and I'ma be real, I do not know too much about him, other than the fact that he put up absolute numbers in Tier 2. He played in the Polish League on Diamant Esports, and his team plays 5th and 3rd respectively in both splits. He placed top 4 in rating in Split 1 and top 8 in Split 2, and with a team that wasn't the best, that's pretty good in my book. I think young talent is always exciting, and I hope that he does well. I think Salah is a great coach, and I know you can't really tell the effect of a coach on a team, but from everything that I've seen so far, I think he's great. Rumor rabbit. Speaking of Safe, he's rumored to be joining this team, and with his thoughts on player development and stepping aside for the next generation, I'm very excited to see how Runner will perform with Safe teaching him and being his support. And finally, the last move that we'll cover today is Estrella to RRQ. Now this one is super surprising to me. Not because I think Estrella is bad, I actually rate him pretty highly, but it's the fact that Gen G didn't try to sign him. Estrella played on D+ this past year as their IGL and fulfilled the Flash Initiator role. D+ were able to win both of their Challenger splits in Korea, with Estrella being their second best player, but unfortunately they went out 7th, 8th in Challengers Ascension, and Estrella has now found his way to RRQ. I think RRQ will probably have him be their main IGL and relieve Flipsider of those responsibilities, letting him go back to being the fragging demon that he is. RRQ were definitely on an upward trajectory near the end of the year, so I think adding a pretty good IGL to the mix might help them get over the hump against stronger talent. I hope that they do well next year. And that's the video. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you think about Monyet joining PRX and the rest of these roster moves down below. I'm very curious to see what you guys have to say. If you like this video, consider checking out this video right here where I breathe a little too much hopium for Sentinels. Thanks for watching, and until next time, stay hydrated. Peace.